This is one of the best scenes in Black Clover, not just because of the cool factor or the quote-unquote aura that it shows Asta as having, but because of something a little bit more than that. I'm sure that when seeing this scene, or any other scene in Black Clover where Asta is putting himself forward, a lot of us view ourselves as him. In life, we might put ourselves forward above others, and convince ourselves that we do always try our best, but I'm sure there is a large portion of us that would actually relate somewhat more to the character behind Asta here, Seke. A man who in this scene is wrought with anguish over the fact that, whilst Asta and him had the exact same time to get better, Asta is currently charging ahead into a fight for both of their lives, while Seke can't do anything but sit back and watch. All the while berating Asta, showing that not only has he not grown physically, but emotionally he is still in the exact same judgmental place as when we first met him at the start of the series. In terms of the chapter in isolation, Tabata intentionally sets up this final moment to be as impactful as possible. The opening of this chapter is through Seke's perspective entirely, with the first opening line being, "Why is this happening to me?" Followed by, "It's all the king's fault, this is literally hell. A legendary demon, a huge horde of monsters, this gigantic mass of more monsters, and then finally, the king of monsters, who just took out all of the captains by himself. This is it, I'm dead. There's no way we'll beat that thing, and yet, they're fighting it. How?" While Seke is saying this, he's actually talking about Yuno, the guy that is protecting Asta and Mimosa, and squaring up to Lucifero. In terms of his relationship to Yuno in terms of their standing, I think even he would acknowledge that Yuno is a step above of him, and always has been. There's not that instant frustration, which goes to show whilst fearful, he isn't stressing in that more personal way. Though even with this being true, Seke is still full of these excuses. When he can actually move again because of Yuno's magic, and isn't being crushed by Lucifero's aura, his instant thought is that they join the Magic Knights at the same time, bewildered as to how he can be so much stronger than he is. Though this is instantly comforted by his mindset, the four-leaf grimoire and another one, I heard he was a Spade Kingdom prince or something. So he was just born different, that's all. Again, using this higher standing of Yuno to comfort himself. And the final nail in Seke's coffin here is that his instant thought is to run away with Mimosa, telling her that they should just leave, and then boasting about himself that he's been acknowledged by the king. This is foretelling that Seke's strength doesn't come from his own physical abilities, or his mindset, it comes from this self-worth that he has fabricated, through deeming himself as somehow better than others, which we do see in a short flashback, just after Mimosa has shut him up for trying to run away. Whilst he left his village to pursue magic, his companions back home didn't have the same ambition. They wanted to stay home, take over their family's business, or make their girlfriend happy, which of course he thinks to himself is nothing much, thinking to himself that they shouldn't compare their sorry lives to his, actually blaming Asta for where he is right now. And with this Luffy-like optimism that Asta displays, it begins to chip through to Seke as he finally realises what the issue is here. He thinks back to a conversation they had back at the Royal Knight selection exam, where Asta says to him, "I thought you were a jerk, but you got tough and made it this far too. Let's both give our best today." Something that at the time obviously angered Seke, but now the look on his face says otherwise. And then, of course, while Seke is still living in his head, Asta stands back up, despite Mimosa's spell coming undone, the healing factor ceasing. Whilst nowhere near recovered, he still stands tall, whilst the battlefield is exploding in front of him and rubble is being thrown everywhere. The only thing that he can think about is rushing forward. Even with Mimosa begging him, he still goes forward. And it's here where Seke's frustration and all of his own insecurities are blurted out onto Asta. "I don't get it, what's the point? You're still completely trashed. What do you think you can do like that? All the captains went at that guy at once and they couldn't win. And you're just a peasant with zero magic. Like it's gonna matter if you're there or not. You're nothing. You're just..." And it's at this point where Seke finally realises the actuality of the situation, how much stronger Asta is, and how somebody quote-unquote weaker than him has been able to stand up to Lucifero, the king of demons, all of this time. He thinks back on what he has prioritised up until this point, trying to chat up ladies, trying to bring down others around him such as Asta, or indulging in frivolities. He thinks to himself, "I had all this time, why didn't I try to get stronger?" As he begins crying, simply powerless compared to Asta. "Why didn't I try to get stronger like you?" And it's here we see just the difference between these two. Asta is beat up, blood is pouring from his nose, his cheeks are bruised, his clothes are tattered, his eyes are hardly open, but he is still confident and moving forward. you know I'm on my way. This just shows the clear divide at this point in the series between these two characters. And it's what makes this stand out so much to me and why I get such an emotional response from it. The last thing that any of us want to do is to be in Seke's situation, but I'm sure that at many points we have been there because it's an easy mindset to fall into. Patting ourselves on the back for things that we shouldn't really be patting ourselves on the back for. Indulging in things that we shouldn't be. All the while, people around us that we view ourselves as for some reason better than because of this mindset that we've got ourselves into are actually getting stronger than us. Now, of course, comparing this to the real world, there isn't magic. The real world doesn't have magic, and this is more or less just talk about more relatable things. And obviously with the title of this video, in terms of the gym, which I feel in recent years or months has actually been quite closely associated with anime or manga because of icons such as Goku or even JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and the type of physiques you see on show there. As a whole, Japanese comics really promote self-growth, with Seke being a reflection of a lot of us in the real world. Now, I don't know if this was Tabata's intention, but having a character whose worst qualities you can relate to on the same page as this bright, shining light as Asta almost creates this feeling of, this is where I am now, this is where I want to be. And that is why I use this chapter as pre-workout, and why I will continue to try and get better going forward. I'll see you all in the next video.